wait till you get a load of who Russ Feingold's opposition is. And it is, of course, exactly the kind of guy that is running all across the country as a Republican. He says that he's totally against government subsidies, right? So his name is Ron Johnson, and he has railed against government subsidies for businesses and products, according to Wisconsin TV station 27 News, right? Now, he says that when you subsidize things, it doesn't work through the free market system very well. So he's against subsidies. I've got another direct quote for you guys, so let's look at that. He says he has never lobbied things. It doesn't work through the free market system very well, and he's never lobbied for some special treatment or for a government payment, okay? Never, okay? Except for the times that he has, okay? So here we go again, Republican 101. It turns out, of course, that he got the Oshkosh Common Council to give his company a $2.5 million industrial revenue bond. Now, they don't get the $2.5 million. They get it as a loan, but they used it to build a 40,000 square foot addition. Now, lovely. That's good. What government gives loans sometimes, and you build things with it. That's what it's supposed to do, right? But also, you'll get its interest is normally tax exempt, so you often get repaid at below market rates. So it is definitely a subsidy. Now, I don't have a problem with some subsidies. Others I do. It depends on a case-by-case basis. But we just heard from Ron Johnson. He's against all subsidies. He doesn't need any of that government handout, unless, of course, it's going to his company, in which case he loves it. And it helps him build, and it helps his business grow. All of a sudden, he doesn't mind that as much. And you know what? He doesn't pay as much interest on it. Everybody's a winner, right? As long as you get to be a hypocrite. But that's not all. Of course, he also got a $75,000 HUD grant that was used to build a railroad line to a factory that he owned. See, I love that one. You know why? Because a lot of the wealthy people in the country say, I don't need no stinking government. And you say, all right, well, can we raise taxes a little bit? Or can we collect taxes to build a road so people can get to your business? They say, well, obviously you need to build a road, but I don't want to pay any taxes for it. Well, nobody can get to your business if you can't build a road, or a railroad in this case. And he got a HUD grant for it. But when he turns around and runs for office, oh, I'm against all of it. No subsidies. Unless, of course, it goes to my back pocket, in which case I love it, but I won't tell you about it. Now, Ron Johnson says he's a self-made man, right? And he runs this company called Packer that wound up being helped by all this stuff. So now some have been questioning whether it's really his business. His brother-in-law started it. He came on 2 years later, and their biggest client is their father-in-law. Now, I actually don't question that. He came on whenever he came on. He wound up eventually running the business. He's been with it since 1979. I'm not taking any of that away from him, okay? And, you know, sometimes your brother-in-law runs the business. Sometimes your father-in-law gives you the big contracts. But here's what I want you to acknowledge. Well, in this case, he wasn't born on third base. He married onto third base. Don't pretend like you hit a triple, right? So, and again, if you say, hey, look, you know what? I took some assistance, and we built the railroad, and that rail line, and that wound up really helping me, and we built the addition based on the, you know, the loan that we got from the government. And you know what? My brother-in-law helped, and my father-in-law bought all this, and I'm so thankful, and we all did it together. That's fine. But if you come to me and say, oh, I'll tell you what, I'm a businessman. I pulled myself up by the bootstraps that my father-in-law gave me and my brother-in-law helped me with. You know, I pulled myself up, and I didn't know any seeking no subsidies. No, government terrible. Me good, government bad. Well, that doesn't make any kind of sense. Now, all of this, if it's all theoretical, you can still say, all right, whatever, right? The guy's a hypocrite, but it is what it is. But it isn't theoretical. It's practical. It's real, right? Ron Johnson thinks that Social Security needs to be reformed. You know what that means? That means he's going to take away your Social Security payments. When they ask him about it, they say, well, he says, you know, brave people have to tackle this. And, quote, all options are on the table. All right? So you get a sense that he's open to reforming Social Security, meaning either raising the retirement age or to cutting your benefits. But if that wasn't clear enough, he says he thinks it's a Ponzi scheme, like Bernie Madoff ran. And he says, quote, who paid some of the older investors, referring to Madoff and Social Security, who paid some of the older investors off and then spent the rest of the money. Now, in that analogy, what he doesn't tell you is the Republican Party is Bernie Madoff. They spent your Social Security surplus, which they weren't supposed to touch, and they spent it on wars, they spent it on tax cuts for the rich, they spent it on X, Y, Z. And by the way, also the Democratic Party. They all spent it. But the Democratic Party says, no, we owe the people. Generally speaking, not all of them, and we tell you when, right? But certainly Russ Feingold does, the guy he's running against. So says, no, but we owe these people. Social Security has a $2.5 trillion surplus, and it owes it to the American people who put the money in. Ron Johnson comes in and says, no, too bad. It was a Ponzi scheme. We already spent your money. Sad day for you. When they asked, hey, what happened to the money? He says, quote, the money's gone. Just exactly like a Republican told me when I was hosting on MSNBC. He said, look, no matter what you think of it, the money's gone. So no, we're not going to give you your retirement benefits like we told you. And if you ask Ron Johnson, he says, well, of course, the government can't do anything right. You're not going to get your Social Security, and you don't need it because you could be a self-made man like me if you marry into the right family and you get the right government subsidies. That's the hypocrisy of the Republicans I can't stand, because not only does it not make sense, but it has an effect on your life. And then they're going to take away your Social Security and laugh all the way to the bank.